is actually stop sharing my screen and invite Navya and her father, Rahul Chaudhary, to the screen. I'm going to put a pin on both of you. Thank you both for joining. I'm just going to put a pin so that everybody can see you and hear you. Hello and welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking out this time on a Sunday. It'll be great if you can both just start with briefly introducing yourself. Navya, you can share, and Rahul, if you can share about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Nafia and I'm a student of class 8 and I have been to GenWise 3 times in the past year.
Thank you, Navya.
Rahul Chaudhary, Navya's father. Navya last time got an opportunity to be a bronze scholar, and therefore she was invited for the program. We took the summer program, and again, I was very apprehensive. She was first time traveling. We live in Gurgaon, and she was to travel to Bangalore. So it was quite with one flight change in Bangalore. So that was a stressful decision within the family to be taken. That can such a small kid travel on her own? We could not accompany her because of certain other reasons. But the program she went in and the reaction which we got, I mean, it was outstanding. Sapna was talking about this entire question of the social skills and the peer group and being nerdy. And Navya just blossomed after she was with the more talented peer group, and her social skills and her capabilities to interact and be unable to take the decisions for herself. There was a marked change. And I think that was the reason why she went into the other programs. And hopefully, if things work out, she might even go for the summer one too. Apart from the technical learning, it is the social experience for the kids, which is of a very different kind. One of the things which, in a way, many of our kids would be like the best in the class, and therefore there is certain amount of kuye ka medhak kind of a situation which also starts to develop. The positive reinforcement from competition, which is not scared from you, and you can all learn together. That's the best learning experience which my daughter got out of GenWise. And outstanding administrative support, outstanding way in which they deal with the kids. So all kudos. It's a fantastic program which we discovered, and hopefully we will use as much of it as we can with Navya. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for sharing so candidly. I'm going to actually ask you to walk back a few steps.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned how the first time when you were thinking of sending Navya all the way to Manipal last summer, from Gurgaon, you knew you all would not be able to accompany her. It's not an easy decision for any parent. Regardless of how far they live from Manipal or not, it's not an easy decision to send your child that far alone for this amount of time. Help me understand, what helped you make that decision, turn that anticipation or that, apprehension, helped sort of, calm down that apprehension a little bit?
Look, the first thing which we did was we said, okay, first time we will expose her more towards languages and English. Though, I mean, it's about all the subjects, but the second thing was that we sent her just for a week, first time around. And Then there was another program which was happening near Gurgaon, so that was easier, much easier decision.
Yeah.
But the kind of support we got out of GenWise in terms of picking her up, making sure that we were in constant communication, making sure that our flights, etc., were properly coordinated, gave us a lot of confidence in you guys. I mean, it was basically that you guys know your onion.
Yeah.
So you knew what is required to be done, what was required to be. So and the second thing which happened was when Navya was in fact not prepared to come back. But I mean, the camp was over.
Yeah.
So the kind of warmth which is generated by you, the kind of peer, I mean, the teacher interactions, the administrative support, all of that was a far more positive reflection on the way how things can work. And I think the social aspect of that is far more important in making Navya what she has grown in last 1 year than just the courses she attended.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for highlighting that. We're good. I'd love to ask Navya a little bit more. Navya, can you tell, one is the courses that you studied, and generally, like, how was your learning experience at GenWise, and, you know, in what ways is it similar or different from other learning experiences that you engage in? The faculty, your peer group, if you can share a little bit about that.
So when I first went to GenWise, I was really nervous, right? I could not interact with anyone. And the first day, I was so ready to go home. But the thing about GenWise is that the people around you, they've gone through the same thing as you are, because they've taken the test and they've scored almost like similar to what you have scored. And the peer group, the competition that you experienced both in class and outside class was insane, because I remember thinking on the first few days of GenWise, I am not good enough for this school. The kids in class are so much smarter than me. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me in my entire life, because I've always been like the smartest kid in my class, and I've always been sort of like the outcast and sort of the person they don't really want to talk to, and they only come for homework and stuff. And so the moment that you actually get to experience competition amongst your own peer group, it's a very humbling experience, because I realized that I still have so much more to go, right? I've not achieved a lot yet. And there are so many amazing people that you meet. Like, and they have such diverse interests. There was this one guy who was in another course. He was an amazing opera singer. And I just wanted to bring him up because his interests were so diverse. And amongst the courses, the learning courses, my teachers were much more were different from my school teachers, because like in school you have to follow a set curriculum, right? You can't diverge from the topic too much. But over here you go from talking about economics to talking about George Orwell's books in like 5 minutes, and you still discuss about it for half an hour. And it's truly an experience to just be able to have fun in class, to be able to study just for the sake of learning, not just like writing exams. And that's one thing that GenWise is really different in, because even if we create a project at the end, we create it together as a class. And it's an accumulation of all our learning together, right? Like, you're not trying to outshine anyone else. You're just trying to be your own individual amongst people like you.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that so candidly. And, you know, the feelings you went through from the first day, it's like, oh my God, you know, I miss home, want to be back home. Everybody around me is so smart, like, you know, and that self-doubt for those few moments, days, whenever you felt, you know, I relate to it so much. So when I went to Harvard the first few months, I think I felt the same thing, that everybody around me is just so much smarter and equally smarter. And, you know, that, but to then come back from there, you know, and be able to engage and take in that learning experience just like a sponge that you did. Thank you for sharing that so candidly. I have a more specific question for you. So can you share with all our parents some of the rules that you're taught on day one, especially for, from safety perspective? Can you share with parents, like, generally, what are the rules that you're taught that you follow, and what does that experience feel like in person as a child?
So some of the rules, they usually have like an orientation on day one where they share the basic rules. Like one of the most important rules is that you have to constantly wear your lanyard and talk to people only if they have a lanyard, and you're not allowed to interact with anyone other than the camp staff, your instructors or kids inside the camp, just for your own safety. And other than that, you're supposed to walk in buddies, such that you don't get lost. And whenever you do, like, so whenever you go to like the bathroom or even back to your own dorm, you're supposed to go with the buddy. And other than that, you're supposed to, there's just basic decorum etiquette. And yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So other than that, of course, can you tell a little bit about your experience, like the residential counselor experience, your living, like the dorm living experience? And you've lived in 3 different dorms, right? Manipal, Bangalore, Shivnadar. So generally, what are some of the experiences, even though each dorm looked different as such?
Each dorm had like a sort of GenWise feel to it because it was a college dorm, and they were not as comfortable as your room at home, but it was just so much fun. So like the dorms, they varied a lot, like the food and like the classrooms and all, and the food was like, it went from good to bad to incredibly amazing, because the food that you received in Bangalore was the best food ever I've had in my life. And other than that, the dorms were also incredibly comfortable. Every morning you had to wake up at 6:30. Like you didn't want to wake up because like the blanket was so warm, and your residential counselor just used to like have to pick you up and just completely just wake you up and stuff.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that, Navya, so candidly. And I'm going to come back to you, Rahul. Rahul, help us a little bit, talk through how you are, so say, at that time last year when she got invited to some of the gifted programs, again, there may have been multiple opportunities and options, whether it is programs in India or the US, whether it is online or offline. Can you unpack some of your thinking and how you made these choices, or how you thought about the different choices?
One of the most critical issue at that point of time was an environmental issue called COVID. We were just coming out of COVID, and all of that was around. Therefore, it was more or less clear that we have to look at options within India only. I mean, there was no question that she would be able to try something outside it. And she was very, very young. And the first time for a course like this, I would definitely want her to be in an Indian program and understand things. See how things go.
Yeah.
We were very, the GenWise team would know the kind of questions I have asked on medical support, how things would be, it was quite, I must have been quite a pain in the neck for all of you guys at that time, but it was important for us to be sure to the last T that yes, we were satisfied with the answers which were being given, and therefore we moved forward with with sending her to Manipal. The other very important question was that she would be going out for the first time, and I did not want her to be too burdened from the course material, not understanding the entire stuff, and therefore it was an important decision to therefore take a course where it was basically her communication skills, singing.
Mm,
It was basically an English
mm, mm.
because science can become more overwhelming if you are first time out, and
Yeah,
so that was another design which we deliberately discussed and planned.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, the other very important aspect was, and which in fact which made me send her again and again to GenWise, was something which Navya, when she came back, she told me.
Mm,
Said that the best thing I learned in GenWise this time was that if you are the smartest person in the class,
mm.
you are in a wrong place.
Correct. Yes, yes,
And that was a very interesting observation which she taught me after
yeah,
being in GenWise.
yes, yes.
And yes, that was one of the reasons why I have repeated her into different courses from
Mm,
time on.
mm,
And I would say one thing, that
mm,
in science and the courses, one of the things which we lack, at least I see schools lacking, is to give the students a participative way of making them grow,
mm, mm, mm,
making them grow,
mm.
which happens a lot in GenWise.
Yes, yes. The classes are interactive. Yeah, thank you for, I think you so beautifully shared, your thought process about this is a new experience and how to think about it in small steps, right? Not to make it extremely challenging from day one. So if she goes to a new country, everything is new, in addition to the fact that you're trying a new program. So the country is new, the language, maybe everybody still speaks English, but it's a much more diverse crowd. Culturally, it's extremely diverse. In terms of the content, there could be some differences because their educational practices could be different. So how do we do it one step at a time? That let's try this one first, and then gradually, now that she's more confident, now that she is more independent, you can take the step of sending her further away and making that challenge a little bit more for her as well, and that learning opportunity. So thank you for sharing that so beautifully. And I think, what Navya said, yes, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're probably in the wrong room because you're not being sufficiently challenged at all. And it's important, as we spoke earlier, that everybody gets the kind of intellectual challenge that they are ready to take on in order that they can continue developing further. So thank you for that as well. I had one more question for both of you. And one is, if you were, if you had to share any of your, advice or suggestion for other parents and other students, what would you say?
I would say, I know what it's like to be nervous on like your first day of GenWise, and it's completely fine. I get it. But just the thing is that if like it's an experience in itself, and you should just like take all of it, just be confident, because the good thing about GenWise is that these people, you're not going to find them back at home, right? You can tell them anything, the stuff that you've not even told your best friends, and they won't be able to do anything about it. So just create new personalities for yourself. Just see the waters, test out your social skills, because it's completely fine. And if you do it wrong, you can change it later anyways.
Yeah, thank you, Navya.
Yeah, one of the things which I would say is was a very refreshing one. It's not a device place. And that's, I think, is the best thing which you guys do. I mean, that half an hour call which happens, that's the great one. We get the connectivity and feedback every night. But for kids to now know that they can live without a device for the entire day, is also a great experience.
Yes, absolutely.
And please make sure. But the only thing which I would add, if I could, is if the communication back in terms of videos and things like that for the parents to see as a group
Yes.
Is a little bit more enhanced.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Point taken. Yes. Thank you so much. Navya, one last question, actually. I keep saying last and keep adding more. Are you still in touch with the friends you made at the earlier programs?
Oh, yes, definitely. I talk to some of my friends like every day, and we keep each other posted. There's this group chat we have, and every day there are like 400 messages on it. And I have it archived right now, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to go back to the presentation, but if we have questions during Q&A, we'll come back to both of you. Thank you so much for joining, for your time, for your thoughts, for being so candid and open and sharing with everybody. Really, really deeply grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.